this is Vivica Williams, and you're watching Head to Head on UATV. Women in war, their stories often go untold, and their efforts to end conflicts don't necessarily attract international media coverage. After coming back from the front lines, they find themselves suffering in silence. But now there's a film, The Invisible Battalion, that aims to change that, to share with the world the remarkable bravery of Ukrainian women in combat. Joining me in the studio today is Oksana Ivantsiv, the executive producer of The Invisible Battalion. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for asking me to come.
Well, can you tell us what this film is about?
This film is about contribution of women in Russian-Ukrainian conflict on the east of Ukraine. It's a unique film because it's a first full documentary film about the contribution of Ukrainian women to this war.
All right. Well, I think we have a video, so let's have a look at the trailer. So that looks like really remarkable what these women are going through. Can you tell me what it took to make this film?
Yes, it's the first things. It's like it's supposed and it's believed that it is traditionally men's deal a war. So we, with our command, want to show a women view on this matter. So we have 3 female directors and 6 female combatants.
Oh, wow.
And this will be totally women view.
So the not only the view of the women in combat, but also the directors. This makes a big difference.
Yes, the women are directing these films, and these women are one of our criteria choosing these people in this film was not only professionalism, but also strong personal motivation to talk about this war. For example, one of our directors is Irina Tsilik, and her husband was a combatant, and she was waiting for him more than a year, and it's a deeply personal motivation for her. Also, Svetlana Lishchinska, she is from Mariupol, and
this is 30 kilometers from.
Yes.
And so what was her personal story in this? Just the proximity and how close?
Yes, she just wants to stop the bombing of her native city.
And the third director?
And the third director is Alina Horlova. She already had one documentary film on the theme of our war in the East, and this film is about children who go to school in the East, and it's called the school number 3.
Wow. So the process of choosing, because my thought was that it was this process of choosing the women who be featured, but also it was the same process with choosing the directors.
Yes, and what about our heroines? It's the main criteria was that it should be women who took part in real military actions. So all of them have this experience, and their stories are very different. They are different age, different life experience. They have different positions in army, but they all have that experience of military actions, and it unites them. We have a deep respect for every person who takes part and contributes to our victory in this war, but this film is about women who are soldiers and who had such hard experience.
And so it covers the stories of 6 women.
Yes.
Did you interview more women, or what was the process there making the film?
We interviewed really a lot of women. We were looking for really different stories to show various women fighting. By the way, we are still in the process of looking for our 6th heroine. So if you know a story of women on war and you want to tell it, so you can write to our official page on Facebook, Invisible Battalion, or just write this story on your page with hashtag Invisible Battalion, and maybe it inspires us and we will find our 6th heroine.
Oh, we're absolutely going to do that. And how long, so you're still making this film, and how long has it taken so far to make the documentary?
We started this film on April. We have practically material for 4 stories, and we are going to finish filming this film in July, and it will be ready by October. So we have a premiere on October 14 on the Day of Defender of Ukraine.
Oh, it's perfect timing.
Yes, and I think, and we will remind also to the society that Ukrainian defenders are not only men, and our women are fighting side by side with our men with the Russian army.
Against the Russian army and the hybrid wars, all of these troops. And so speaking of women fighting side by side, I know that there are official women in the army who are combat trained. Are women in Ukraine allowed to legally fight in combat?
We have problems with that, so it's like that's why we called our film Invisible Battalion, because a lot of these women are invisible for the society, for the state. They are in half-legal position in the army. Some of them are illegally there and not register. Some of them are not on the position they really are. For example, women can be sniper or grenade launcher operator, and she is registered as cook or cleaner, and it's really a great problem. We had some legislative changes a year ago, so the list of the positions now are more broader, but it's still a lot of positions are closed for women, and especially education in this sphere is also closed for women, and career a lot of problems.
So women are legally allowed to fight in some combat positions.
But in some combat, not at all.
But very limited.
Yes.
And there are some women who do fight in these positions, but they don't receive the opportunities to advance a career, but also they don't receive the benefits or the pay associated with it. And what are the problems when women come home? What we see in America is often that when soldiers come home, especially we had this issue with women in combat, and not until a few years ago, women were not allowed to serve in combat, but they actually did. and they did not receive the same support when they came home. They didn't get the same treatment, the same care. So what issues are these women seeing when they come back from war?
We show such stories in our film. For example, the story of Oksana Yakubova. In her civil life, she was the senior economist and the Ministry of Finance. On the war, she is a deputy of combat. Our story with her about her rehabilitation, because she has a post-traumatic syndrome. And in her story, there is no war, I mean filming war, but there is a war which persons takes in her mind to peaceful life. And really the problem of rehabilitation and adaptation of women veterans is much more complicated, because as usual society doesn't understand why this woman went to war. What was her motivation? Like, she was not obliged to do this. Very often she is taken as a woman who left her family, and it's like a very stigmatizing thing. And we really have to work with it a lot. Another story of Adriana Susak, she was registered as seamstress, but she took part practically in all military operation in Lugansk region in Battalion Aidar, and now she is home. She is a veteran, has a little son, and he has a great bureaucratic war now to show that she was really there and she is a veteran.
So, yeah, these are two very powerful stories, and there are more women just like this who are fighting, in the war. What are some other issues that you're seeing? What were the challenges, actually, in filming this?
One of a lot of the problems we want to show in our film is the position of women in army, and to remind the society, showing these women that we still have a war. This war is there, and to remind it not only to our society but to the world, that this war is not like civil war, it's Russian aggression, and our women are brave enough to fight it. If to talk about some maybe discussions or like interesting moment during filming documentary, I understand that documentary film is a film where one of the directors of this film is real life, and you can never predict what material you will have and what the relationship with your heroine you will have, how it will be. This is like the moment of openness and for the heroine, and not everybody is ready for this. For example, one of heroine we wanted to take to our film, she was intelligence, and we understand that her role in army will not let her to be so open in film as we need to, and it can be even dangerous for her. So we were obliged to change her.
Okay, and so hopefully maybe this will lead to a book of stories at some point of these women.
Yes, it's a good idea.
And who supported with this film?
This film is supported by USAID through Internews Network and is produced by NGO Institute for Gender Programs.
Oh, so I'm very glad that you were able to get the funding for this film and that everything is going through. We really look forward to seeing this film when it premieres in October. Thank you so much for being with me today and discussing this just remarkable work that women are doing in the war.
Thank you.
And today we were talking with Oksana Ivantsiv, the executive producer of The Invisible Battalion, a remarkable movie about the stories of women in war. Thank you so much for watching UATV.